Boys and girls, today we are going to be reading a story called Love Those Bugs. Now, I heard Ariane say, "Ooh, I like bugs." But when I read this title, I was a little confused because I do not love bugs.
I'm allergic to it.
You're allergic to bees?
And they sting my hand.
Yeah. You like some bugs but not all bugs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do you think people would love bugs?
Well,
Oh, they help us? Let's go ahead and take a look at our table of contents. What are we going to be reading about? Well, let's make a prediction about what we're going to be reading about based on the table of contents. Look at these topics. Do you see anything in common with these topics?
Insects and humans. Yeah, because humans actually eat insects. What they do to the bugs. Has facts about some bugs.
It's just facts about bugs?
And also, we can eat bugs too. What they eat.
Okay.
Like all about bugs. Like
what bugs eat?
And kind of like how they make, how people eat bugs.
Oh, people eat bugs?
I've ate one.
All right.
You did?
Okay, well let's take a look at this. It said, what's the first section going to be called?
The importance of insects.
The importance of insects. So what are we going to be reading about in that section?
Insects are important.
Okay. What about this next word?
Pollination.
Pollination. What's that?
That's what bees do. Like pollen. Like they pick up pollen. Like then from flowers. Like kind of trap some.
Okay. What about this next word? Recycling.
What do bugs do?
What do bugs have to do with recycling?
Maybe eat pollution. Oh, they eat the pollution.
I don't know, but I think that's a great question that can help us think while we're reading. We're going to try and answer that question. How are we going to talk about recycling and bug? All right, so what do we need to do when we are looking at a nonfiction text? What kind of strategies do we need to use? So, are we going to be able to memorize all of the facts in this book? No. So what do we have to do?
Make a map.
And what do we put on the map?
Important information.
Important information. So as we are reading nonfiction, we need to decide what are the most important facts and information that we need to remember in order to understand this book. What do we do when we're always reading? Whether it's fiction or nonfiction. What's the first thing we always have to check in? That we're understanding the passage. Yeah, we have to check in with our comprehension, right? We have to monitor our comprehension. So that's what I want us to be working on today. I want us to make sure we are monitoring our comprehension, and I want to make sure that we are determining what is the most important things to remember in this passage. So, since we can't write in this book, I want you to check in with your comprehension using a Post-it note. And if you have any questions or anything that you have trouble with while you're reading, just jot those questions or words down on this Post-it note, and then we can check in together and see if we can fix our understanding of the words that we're reading. Okay? All right. I would like for you to go ahead and read pages 3, 4, and 5. And don't forget that you need to make sure that you read your nonfiction text features like captions and text boxes. Don't skip those. Those are included. And take a look for bold words too. All right. You have your pencil ready to jot down any questions you might have? All right. I'm going to let you guys read silently, and Maria, I want you to whisper read out loud for me, please.
Flies spread disease, and cockroaches spread filth. Mosquitoes have blood, skin, locusts devour crops, and termites eat the wood frames of houses. Insects, yuck. Who needs them? Surprisingly, we do.
Let's go back to this word right here. Do you see a word inside this word that you already know?
Mm-hmm.
What's that word?
In. Hour.
Hour. So if we add this to this word that we already know, what word does that make?
Devour.
All right, read that sentence again, or just maybe this phrase. Can you think of a synonym that would make sense?
Yeah.
What?
Like, describe.
All right, read that sentence again with the word describe instead of despite.
Describe the small size. These organisms or living things have an amazing effect on the earth.
Does that make sense? Describe their small size. These organisms have, or living things have an amazing effect on the earth. Despite their small size, these organisms have an amazing effect on the earth. Why is it talking about their small size and their effect on the earth? Their amazing effect on the earth in the same sentence.
Because they're so small, they don't have an effect on the earth.
But it says they have an amazing effect on the earth. Can everyone turn in their books to page 3? And let's look at the last sentence on page 3. Photon, read that for me.
Despite their small size, these organisms or living things have an amazing effect on the earth.
Okay, so what two ideas is the author talking about in that sentence?
Their small
size
and how they affect the world.
And their effect on the world. Why is the author talking about these two ideas in this sentence? What's he doing, Botan?
I'm comparing them.
He's comparing them. Why would he compare the small size of insects to their amazing effect?
I think it's because he's saying that even though they're small, they have a big effect to the world.
Oh.
Or he can.
So what word you used? Even though they're small, they have a big effect. So they're kind of opposite ideas. So let's use the word even though instead of the word despite here. Read it again for us.
Even though they're small size, these organisms or living things have an amazing effect on the earth.
At the top of page 4, the author is going to give us a clue about how she's going to structure the rest of the book. How is she going to organize the rest of the information in the book on page 4? She gives us kind of a preview.
Like from the what do you call it?
Oh.
The table of contents.
What things?
Like how it said how they're gonna pollinate plants, how they're gonna recycle.
Maybe some clues from
Oh, so some of the same topics and words from the table of contents?
Maybe one of these could be a clue from
And what do all of those things have in common, those 5 things?
that.
What they do to help the plants?
Okay, so this is a list of what, Botan?
What they do to help us? Or to help the plants and
What
everything?
do to help us?
The insects.
Like the bees, they help pollinate like the plants.
There are 5 different ways that this author is going to explain how insects help us. How can we organize these ideas on a thinking map? If we're talking about 5 different ways that insects help us.
You put like insects.
I have 5 branches on my tree map. What's going to go on each branch? The author gave us a preview of how she's going to organize this text where she explains how they are helpful.
Pollinate.
So pollination, what else? Recycling. When we are adding details to this map from the text, we need to be thinking about how pollination benefits our world. What do insects do when they pollinate, and how does that benefit our world? So let's take a look at the section on pollination again, and let's make sure that the ideas that we add here connect back to our main idea. Our details must support our main idea. They explain how the insects are benefiting us. All right, so take a look at the details you added to your map and make sure that you can connect those details back to the main idea. Let's look back in our text and see if we can find a detail that explains how this is a benefit. So you've explained what pollination is, and you've shown me what the insects do, but connect it back to this idea of being a benefit. How does this help us or help our world? I want to talk about a couple of the words that we saw in our passage today. The first one that I want to talk about is pollination. Pollination. Does pollination have any words in it that you already know? Pollen. Who can tell me what pollen is?
It's something on flower.
Something on flower? What color is it?
It's
Yellow.
It's it's like water and honey.
Has something to do with water and honey?
Yeah, like water and nectar.
Water and nectar? Okay. Go ahead and write the word pollination on your board because it does have to do with pollen. But I really want to talk about this ation at the end. It's a suffix that's been added to the word pollen to change the meaning of pollen, and it's actually one of our Latin roots. We see this word ation, or this suffix ation, in lots of other words. So let's see if we can figure out how it changes the meaning. Let's try it by adding it to the word explore.
Exploration.
Yeah.
Maybe
All right, you're going to have to drop the E, and then we add that ation. So what do you think that means, ation?
Is it kind of like
Instead of exploring,
reading the people that explore? Maybe going deeper?
Doing. You're exactly right. Ation means the process or the act of doing something. The process or act of doing something. Can you guys think of any other words? Can you guys think of any other words?
Proclamation.
Ooh, proclamation. Oh, I love it. Participation. Let's take a look at our base words and see if we can come up with a definition for all of these words. What's our base word before, and now sometimes we had to change the spelling of the base word, but what was our base word for pollination? Pollen. So pollination would be the process of putting pollen on something, right? What's our base word in exploration?
Explore.
Explore. What about the base word in proclamation? Proclam. That's not a word I know. We must have changed how we pronounce it.
Okay.
Let's do it instead of let's do it pro.
Proclaim.
Proclaim. What does it mean to proclaim?
Claim something that has
Proclamation has the base word to proclaim, which means to announce. So a proclamation is
you're
announcing something, the act of announcing.
Kind of like say, I don't know.
And as we continue reading this book this week, we are going to continue to be adding some details to our map that help connect to the ideas of recycling, killing pests, providing food, and making products, and connecting those ideas back to our main idea of the insects help us. They are beneficial to us, they benefit us, and so we're going to be making sure that our details connect back to our main idea. All right, you guys did a great job today. If you would go ahead and pack up your tree map in your book in your reading folders, and we will pick up on the next section of recycling tomorrow. I am still curious about what recycling has to do with insects, aren't you?